What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing episode 3 of the Maserati build series. In today's video, Martin's going to be putting the engine into the car for the very first time. Martin got the engine and transmission put onto the stand that he made for it. We're going to be putting it in the car, testing the fit, seeing if anything fits properly. We're going to try and put the cross member up and see if we can get that to fit and see where everything's going to go. And then maybe hit the interior part and see if we can make some extra space in the firewall. Let's get right to it. Martin got the engine onto the stand. Martin made this stand specifically for this engine, but I'm sure we'll use it for engines in the future. It's got a gap here, which allows you to have this space behind the oil pan and the transmission, where the crossmember usually fits. It allows you to be able to mock that up and be able to put the thing underneath it and see if it fits. So Martin took the front suspension out this morning. This is the crossmember for this car. And if we walk up here, Martin is currently working on clearing up some of the space on this firewall. He took off a couple of the fuel lines that ran to the gas tank in the back of the car, which I'll show you guys some of the footage of that. Now once he's got those off, he's going to go ahead and try and take off some of this here to try and create space on the firewall to mock the engine up.
Okay, so what I'm doing now is that since we're going to set the engine right here up in here against the firewall, and possibly we might have to modify this so we can get the engine to sit further back, I need to make room for that. So these brake lines definitely need to come out. So first I'm going to drain the brake fluid and then move these lines out of the way so we can set the engine in.
Martin is going to line the engine up underneath it and then drop the car down onto the engine in the stand for the very first time and kind of try and line the engine up and see how it fits. This is kind of our rough first mock-up of the engine in the car. As you can see, it's definitely a very tight fit back there. It's going to be close trying to fit this engine into this car. We have to massage or even possibly cut the transmission tunnel a little bit to create room. Right now Martin is measuring the shifter to see if the shifter is kind of in the right spot. Martin is just kind of testing placements. You know, he's moving the engine around a bit, moving it forward, moving it back, dropping the car up and down. Eventually Martin's gonna have to make his own engine mounts for the car, so where we mount it is kind of up to us. And it's a point of trying to get the weight balance as best we can, as middle of the car as we can, and creating as much space for radiator and intercooler and other things that we're going to need up in the front of the car. So Martin's going to try and put the cross member under and see whether or not the cross member kind of like lines up with the hole underneath the engine behind the oil pan like I told you guys earlier. So Martin put the cross member up to where you see where it was located. If you guys remember what I told you earlier, almost all engines will have a spot like this, a tunnel almost, on the engine for the cross member to sit under. And in this car, it's kind of in the wrong spot. So right now the cross member is sitting too far back, sitting almost where the engine and transmission mount together. And with this car being a rear mount steering rack, we're actually probably going to have a problem where we're going to have to move the engine back even more, probably another inch and a half, and massage the firewall back, and then make a new cross member with a front mount steering rack so that we can create, you know, this pocket being used the way it's supposed to be. We can't move this pocket to a different location, so we have to move the cross member and the steering rack accordingly. So Martin is attempting to move the shifter over. I'll show you guys some of the footage of taking this part off with the boot and this little shifter piece. It's actually kind of cool. Toyota had this really cool design where you could just flip it and there was a second hole that was hidden that you could put it on. So you could move it up to these slots and move the shifter about 1.5 inches to 2 inches forward. Pretty clear that Toyota must have been using this transmission in some other car because they have 2 factory holes here, as well as this shifter locator being able to be taken off, flipped around, and there's a second hole for this to go in, and you can move the shifter 2 inches forward to relocate it, which will be better for this car in locating the shifter. When we bought this engine, this piece was broken in transit, so Martin is going to have to re-weld that piece back onto its original mounting location up here. We'll have to make his own bar place for that because that was missing when we got the engine.
the next day.
So we're back, it's day 2. For today we're gonna try and take the interior all out so we can see how much space we can create on this back firewall. Martin is running some errands today. Steven here is gonna be taking out the interior. First step of that is gonna be taking out the seat. Now that we've got the seats out of the car, the next step is going to be starting to take the carpet all out and start to attack taking the center console as well as the dashboard out. Steven got all the carpet out, as you guys can see here. All of the carpet is out of the car. We will need to do some dyeing on that carpet to get it to look right for when we put it back into the car. So this car actually has quite a bit of sound deadening to quiet the car down on the road. I believe Steven wants to take all of that out and then put the carpet back without that in there. That should save us probably close to, or if not over, 100 pounds. So we're going to be doing that in the future. For today, we're going to continue on the dashboard and the center console. Right now, Steven's taking out the center console. And once we have that out, we'll work on the dash. So now that we've got the dash out, we're going to look around and see if we can kind of make some space up in here. A lot of this AC control stuff I think is going to have to stay because we want to have AC in this car, but we'll see kind of what space we can make. We're going to take off all of the sound deadening on the transmission tunnel so that Martin can weld onto that, and then assess the wiring situation as well. Some of that's going to have to go, some of it will have to stay to make the original gauges work. We'll have to see what we can make work. So that's going to be it for this video. Steven got the dashboard as well as the center console out. Martin, in the next video, will be able to assess the work on the firewall and see how much space he can create for the engine to move backwards and get a better weight distribution. We'll see you guys then.